Hello there, my name is Adam. I'm a 3D artist and illustrator, and today I'll show you how to make a isometric fantasy island, rather. It's going to be like a little pond, and we're just going to import it right now so you get a good visual. So first, do Shift A, Image, Reference. Make sure you click on this where it says Align to View, and then you have to do Fancy Pond V2. Load. Let's rotate it on this way. Rotate by pressing R, then we do in the x-axis 90. There we go. G, X, move it over to here. And you can scale it down if you want. So like this. There we go. And now we can get started. First as first, we have to reduce the size of this. So let's do Edit. Select these top vertices. Do G, Z, and make it pretty flat to about there, just to match the original. If you're curious, the original would look like this. You can always scale it up by doing face selection, GZ, moving it a little bit more up. There we go. Next, we have to add all these details to the ground just to get the general shape of it. So let's do Control R. And let's add a separation about here. Control R again. Let's add one right here. Control R one more time. Add one little indent. And now let's add one on this side. Control R. That seems about right. Control R. Put it somewhere around here. Control R one more time. And let's add that little indent for the water to go out of. And there you go. Now let's do face selection. And we're going to grab these faces here. All but this one and this one. And right click. Extrude faces along normals. And extrude them out a little bit. There we go. Now we do face selection one more time. And we select this one and just extrude outwards to about there. There you go. And then the back one, we also have to do that one. So let me just select all of this and extrude to about here. There. And now we have the full layout of the places where everything has to be. So we have to make the pond itself. Let's try to get the shape correctly. So the first part has to bend right at the same spot that's right here. So let's just do face selection. And let's select this part here. The only thing we have to do is do face selection and extrude this out a little to about there. Now we do face selection. And we just select this face, and this face. And this goes like this. This side here continues on normally. And it goes all the way like that. There we go. We have the shape of our pond. Obviously, we can make it a little bigger, but right now, let's just do extrude downwards. And if you're having problems where when you zoom in, it does this, where it slows down, you can always go to Edit, and then go to Preferences, then go to Navigation like this, and turn on Auto Depth. You could turn this one off, you don't really need it. And zoom in on mouse if you ever need it, because it lets you zoom in on the position that your mouse is. Obviously, if you don't want that, you can deactivate it. But yeah, just do Auto Depth, and that should fix that. Another thing, if you haven't been following along with my other lessons, you can go to Input, turn on 3 mouse button emulation, go to Key Mapping, and turn on Tab for Pie menu and Extra Shading Pie menu. Then you have to go to Add-ons, search Extra, Mesh Extra Objects, turn that on. You also have to search for Loop, mesh loop tools. And then you just have to go over here and save preferences, and that should be everything. You don't need to do anything else. After you've activated all that, just close it and done. And now if you zoom in, it should be infinitely, which is nice. It helps a lot. In previous lessons, I didn't have it activated because I just wanted it to be as similar to the actual experience a normal Blender user would have, but I might as well improve the way you go through and look at things. Now you can just zoom in on your mouse. So wherever your mouse is, you can just zoom in. And you can zoom in infinitely. It will never slow down. Alright, but back to what we were doing. We have to edit this. Let's do edge selection. Select this edge and these edges. And just do X and delete the edge. There we go, and that should delete it like that. Staying in edge selection, you can select this, or actually do Control R and move it upwards to like about there. You can do it again on this side. There we go, right on the same spot. And now you can do edge selection, select these edges here, and these ones, and just press F. Do it on the other side, just like this. Make sure you delete this edge, so just do X, and do edge. Select this one as well, X, edge. Select these edges, select this, do F, and there you go. You should have a face for everything there. And if you want it to be split in half, just do K, click here, click there, enter. And there you go, it should be separated. Go back into edit mode and you'll see face selection should select two different faces. Alright, next we have to add a lot of the detail. So let's start making these trees. To make the trees is pretty simple. We can get out of edit mode, by the way. We don't need that anymore. You can also right click and shade smooth if you really want to, but for now we're not going to do that. Let me select this GX, move it a little closer, and let's start making that tree. Let's do Shift A, mesh, add a cube. Let's scale it down to about there. Press 7, G, put it into place, right about there. Next, we have to do GZ, make sure it's touching the ground. You can always zoom in, GZ, perfect. And now, we have to extrude this upwards. But, before we do that, we have to extrude these other bits of the tree. So, let's do edit on this, face selection, and let's get into the position right here. GZ, move it upwards to about there. And it seems to be already on a good depth, but let's do GX, move it in a little bit. Let's move it all the way back, GX, to about here. And then I just noticed something else. Select this, edit mode, Control R. Let's add it right about there. Face selection, let's select these faces here. Extrude, let's extrude it quite a bit. There you go. Now we can do edit on this. That face is already selected, so let's do GX. Move it to about there, and there you go. Mainly because the back looked a little bit more thicker there. I will say this slice here, edit on this. Let's just do Control Z and just deselect these and only extrude this part. GX, move it out quite a bit. We can also select this one, GX, and move it to like about there, just so it adds like a bit of shaping to the thing. But now, let's do edit mode, select this, edit, GX, move it to like about there. Next, what you want to do is add a little indent like this on the tree. So let's do Control R, and let's try to get the distance correct. Control R, should be like about here. Face selection, and now we can just extrude this out. So let's just get into the pose right here, extrude. And it seems to go out to about here, which is good. And now we have to extrude this other part, except this one goes all the way up. Let's do Control R, add one loop there, Let's select these and just extrude them out like this. There we go, and we get the thickness of the tree there, except from what I see. Let's do Control Z. It's only this face. Extrude, because it goes too deep. Maybe we can extrude this one as well. Extrude it a little. There we go. Just to add a little bit of shape to the tree. And now we can just select all of these and extrude them upwards. And there you go. That should be that. Extrude this upwards as well. And you'll notice that a lot of it is pretty like voxely and square. And well, that's intentional. Let's just extrude this, because this was based off of a voxel art thing, and someone simply just drew it. Alright, so let's make the tree go up like that. Do Control R, add a loop here. Let's select this face here. Face selection. Extrude it like this. Extrude it outwards so we can add the branch later. Control R, add a loop there. Select this and extrude it like that. And there, that should be one branch done. We have to add another branch here. Do Control R. Just make it a bit square. There we go. Face selection. And let's extrude this like this. And that should add one more branch there. We can extrude it upwards. And that should be another branch there. And just to add a bit more detail, we can add one branch right here. Extrude that. And there you go. That should be the branches of this tree. Later on, we're going to make this tree as well. But for now, that's that. And now let's add all these little leaves on top of it. So, let's deselect this. This should be the tree it's all done, or the trunk for the tree. Shift A, Mesh. Let's add another cube. Scale it down, but not too much. And we can start adding it everywhere. So, let's make one with this shape here. Another one like this, and just keep adding it everywhere. So let's do GZ, move it up, and put it right about there. And they seem to be solid, so let's just do GX, move it to like there, and more inside of it. Scale it down, scale it in the Z-axis. Let's do Shift D just for now. Select this, extrude it out like this, Control R, make it a little bit thin, select this face here, extrude it down, Control R, let me select these faces here, and just extrude them backwards like this. And then those later on get connected to some other stuff. For now, let's do Control R right here in the middle. Let's select these faces here. And these faces. Not that one. G, Y. Move them in a little bit. Let's just select... First, let me see. Okay. Yeah, let's select these top ones. Extrude them outwards to about there. Now let's do Control R right here. Make it closer to the edge. Face selection, select these, and extrude them upwards. And there you go. That should be the first part there of that little leaf clump. Do Shift D,